Welcome to the Fireside Gathering with the authors of I Don't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate, sharing more of their experiences and wisdoms learned, hosted by Sara Jane. You can go to vocalreiki.com/fireside gathering to find all the authors and where you can purchase the book. Do enjoy.
Welcome to the gathering of the authors of the book, I Didn't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate. I'm Sara Jane, and I am delighted for this program to be joined by Mahalia Michael. Hi, Mahalia.
Aloha.
And Linda Binns.
Hi.
Linda, hi. I am so blessed to be joined by our guests today. They are both authors in the book with me. Linda, I'm going to start with you. Your chapter is chapter 11, The Power Within, Transforming Childhood Pain into Adult Triumph. Will you please share a little about yourself and why you chose to participate in this book?
Yes, well, I just love the title. It just really resonated with me, and I think it resonates with a lot of people. But I grew up with a narcissistic mother and an absent father. And, narcissists often in the family need to have a scapegoat, and that was me. And so anything and everything that went wrong was my fault. And talk about manipulation. I mean, I think narcissists are master manipulators. And so having grown up in that environment, I had no confidence, no self-worth, and, drew people to me, bullies and, people who wanted to manipulate me. And, I thought that that's how it had to be. That's who I was. And as I started to learn more about energy, learn more about myself, and, once I had left home, then I started to realize, okay, that's not who I am. And I started to transform myself. So it goes so well with the title, people, especially narcissists, when you start to take care of yourself and stand up for yourself, they will tell you you're being selfish. But that's not what it is at all. It's that you're not going to be manipulated anymore. And so that's why it resonated with me so well. And I just really wanted to be part of it.
Bless you. Thank you. Mahalia Michael, chapter 21, Overcoming Total Rejection, A Journey to Freedom and Self-Love. Share a little about yourself and why you chose to participate.
Thank you for having me, Sara Jane. I am honored to be a part of this book. I love the title as well. Thank you, Linda, for your bravery and courage. And ever since I can remember, as a little girl, I was a mystic. I was connected to a universal frequency, a vibration. It turns out later on, as years went by, we discovered it's with a galactic group of Lyrians that have always been with me, and tuning into the mystical field of Mother Nature, of creation itself. And so I had already in childhood abilities that were clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, and I think I scared my family a little bit. Maybe I was very, very sensitive, and also born with a genetic trait of multi-exceptional, profoundly gifted, which did not get acknowledged. And that level of being able to now, as I can communicate with dolphin and whale frequencies and teach about it, was not acknowledged. In fact, because of my strange, odd nature, which I consider myself like an ET, there was rejection, abandonment, and betrayal, and also, similar to Linda, a lot of scapegoating. I was the youngest daughter. I had to, because of, I guess, my frequency, my gentle, soft nature, I've discovered pushes people's buttons and seemed to push my older brothers to bully me. I was called names. I was, like I said, rejected. There was a sense of abandonment and constant. It's been ongoing even in my adult life. And so gradually, though, when I got awakened by the whales and dolphins and the neurofeedback I did, because from all of the childhood trauma that was unrecognized, even untreated. I asked for help, never really got that help to know what was wrong with me. But it started with a concussion in childhood, and then it led into 7 concussions, and then a history of about 20 years of PTSD. But I just thought that was who I was. I didn't realize that it was all buried trauma, and that it was, and so my last head injury, heading headfirst into a boulder off my bike, was when I completely basically saw my life flash before my eyes, and thankfully I survived it and was guided to Dr. Swingle, a psychoneurophysiologist who started me on neurofeedback. And he said I had the brainwaves of a war veteran and that it was causing me a disability. So combined with my MEPG trait, which is 1 in a million, and it makes my brain operate super, super high function and my emotions super, super high function, is I was able to realign my brain to the best of my ability until I got to Maui and Big Island, and humpback whale music and dolphin frequencies completely took me to the next level. So then I went from being disabled and dysfunctional and craving love and wondering why people keep rejecting me and why I'm being blamed for things that aren't my fault, to now a world recognized sound healer, that I want to help and serve those who have buried trauma. And the whales and dolphins have guided me, and the Lyrans, these angels from Lyra. And I'm honored to be a guide on the planet and lead this wave of awakening out of childhood pain and into their people's superpowers and strength.
No, bless you. Thank you both, because I think there's been an awful lot of you that you may not have shared the childhood aspect, but there's a definite childhood aspect, I think, for all of us. It is just that, yeah, and I get it. How many of us have actually got real trauma, PTSD, but it was such a young age, and it certainly didn't exist. I think it was called shell shock back in the First and Second World Wars, wasn't it? So yes, and it's supporting and helping people, but it's also about our uniqueness, isn't it? And helping us to become aware of our uniqueness, that we should be who we feel we are, not what anybody else tells us we should be. So and helping people, it doesn't have to be scary to others unless they just don't want to be open-minded, I suppose. So brilliant, thank you. Mahalia, I am going to stay with you because I've asked all my guests to give us a second topic, a topic they would like to discuss. And you've called yours Dark Secrets. Can you share a little about what you mean by that?
So buried trauma, I call it a pirate, and how it lives in the body and creates masochistic tendencies. It creates a self-hatred and negative self-talk. It limits people, and it's a vibration that is very secret. Most people don't recognize it. They may become bullies themselves or bully to themselves if this dark energy, which is a dense vibration, which is what I consider unresolved trauma, that lives and creates the personality or persona of that person, and how they become narcissistic and cruel to others instead of being in their sensitivity and in their compassion, because deep down everybody has that. So my work then grew because I had my own pirate, big time, who had hijacked it. This vibration hijacked my brain, and that was why I stuttered and had panic attacks and wore glasses full time and could not keep a job and lived really in a poverty cycle. And it's this it's like it lords over this extraordinary instrument of the human body temple, the brain, the heart, and the root energy. So it also cloaks sexual energy, the primordial power, and the kundalini energy. So how the whales came to help me is their music, their frequencies are so extraordinarily powerful that they cleaned the pirate out of my system when I was deep in the water with the beautiful music off Maui with the whales. It was a very serendipitous encounter. And what I've discovered is with my many clients from around the world is everyone deals with this pirate, but they don't notice it necessarily. They don't realize that it causes sickness, disease, degeneration. It hijacks them. It siphons energy from them. And we're seeing such a depletion around the world and more fighting and problems in that way. And to me, it's all deep down unresolved childhood trauma and trauma from the womb. And so I call that the dark secret. It's very prevalent around us. And why I love the whale and dolphin frequencies is because people can access them at any time, anywhere in the world. I have an album, Mermaid Island, Walking on Water. It's all healing frequencies with whale and dolphin recordings. People can go online and find that, or just tune into the universal frequency, tune into Mother Nature, and let their true self emerge from their dark history or anything that they faced and that they may not have let go of yet.
Bless you. Thank you. Linda, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And, you know, whatever happened to you, anything, any painful event, any manipulation, anything that made you feel it's not okay to be you, or there's something wrong with you, that you're not good enough. Every example of that, however that showed up for you in your life, that's stored. You know, we store that. And so we function, we think that's who we are. We function from that place. And that's why I talk about, you know, taking the mask off. It's not who you are. And so when something happens and you get triggered, you get angry, or you want to lash out at somebody else, or you go into a depression or a sadness, it's not that event or that person that did that to you. Like, this is later on in life. It's what's been triggered inside you. It's that that stored energy that's been triggered, and you believe that's who you are, and it truly isn't who you are. So yeah, I completely agree. We all carry something like that within us. Yeah.
It makes so much sense. But I think for me, I'm going to say I think there are two sides to this. These things happen to you, and you can go one of two ways. You can become the people pleaser, but they can actually, without realizing it, be quite manipulative, because they're not asking people what will keep them happy. They're second guessing what will keep people happy. But you're trying to be the people pleaser, but your ego monkey mind, your pirate, as you've called it, sort of is still very negative about yourself, bullies you horrendously. So you can become the person that is a doormat, or you can become the person who is just so angry. Both in their own way are seeking to be seen, are seeking to be understood, are seeking to be listened to heard. But people can come at it from different perspectives and different ways of doing it. So, and I love the way that you've described it. It's excellent. So thank you so much for that. Okay, Linda, unmasking the self, discovering who you truly are. Your thoughts on that, please?
Well, you know, it's interesting because we think we know ourselves, but often, as we discussed, really, we're living through layers of conditioning and experiences and other people's expectations. So really, what I find is that we all work hard. You know, if you're interested in personal growth, self-awareness, that kind of thing, if you're interested in becoming a better person, a better human being, we start to focus on things that we think will make a difference, but it's usually all things outside of ourselves. and we put our energy and our focus into the wrong things. It's because we don't truly know who we are. I mean, a simple example could be, you know, somebody, this is a common one for me, people will come to me and say, I need help with time management, or, you know, organizing myself. I'm just so scattered all over the place, and I don't achieve what I want to achieve, and why can't I do it? And, you know, they think time management is the issue, but once we start talking about it, we start to see that that's not the issue at all. The issue is that they are living a life that is not theirs to live, that they are living from a place that really doesn't represent them. They're putting their energy into things that are not a fit for them. So no wonder they think they have an issue with time management. No wonder they feel so scattered. And so we have to start digging deeper into themselves to discover, what is it that, who are you really, and what is it that you're here to do, and what is in alignment with, what would be in alignment with who you are. And when you start to make that transition, time management is not an issue. You know, you put your energy into the right things rather than wasting your energy on things that are not going to work. But having said that, you know, self-awareness is very often something people resist terribly, because they're looking for that external answer, and they're afraid because, you know, possibly they've been told they're not good enough, or there's something wrong with them, all of those things. They're afraid that once they start looking deeper into themselves, they will reveal that that is really the truth. It's not the truth. It's just layers and layers and layers of conditioning and beliefs that we have. And so we have to go digging for that, you know, just stripping away those layers to find out, who are you really? And what do you really want? Because each of us is truly unique. And once we let go of all of those layers of what we've been told we are, or other people's expectations, then just a freedom, a liberation comes, and everything becomes clearer. So I think without self-awareness, without truly looking at yourself, you can't truly make any change or permanent transformation. It all starts with us. We have to learn who we really are so that we can be who we're meant to be in this world.
Bless you. Thank you. Mahalia, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, and very much also many ways we've been conditioned, told. For example, with me, I've been told most of my life I was tone deaf, and I didn't talk a lot as a child. And then after all my concussions and the PTSD, I stuttered a lot and couldn't form really good, proper sentences. Even though I worked in the public, I was very slow and delayed. So the deep belief, core belief that I shouldn't even speak up or, you know, have a voice, I managed to overcome that, and I still can't sing in tune totally, but I have a voice that does make a difference in the world. And so everyone has a voice that will make a difference in the world, in their world, and change and support the transformation of their reality. And it is a journey to discover who we are and what really makes our heart sing, what is our soul calling, and what were we conditioned to become. And I look at the world around me as a guidepost for if I am on track or if I'm off track. So, and it's, so if, how do I, like, the life we're leading, if we feel enthusiastic, if we get up out of in the morning out of bed, happy, excited, ready to start the day and ready to be in service, and not from a place of some work we just fell into, or it's something that we actually created that we're super inspired by, that to me feels freeing. And to look at our, like, what's our number one value. And I used to think my number one value was to have a home and to have you know, good clothes to wear, nice things, but turns out my number one value is freedom. So it's time freedom, it's energy freedom, and it is me expressing my true self freedom. No matter if other people judge it or you know, want to keep bullying and being in their own small self, it hasn't stopped me now, because I've seen results with my clients, the miraculous results, and that has kept me going for many, many, many years, as my body's cleared layers and healed. So what inspires you? What gives you excitement? What motivates you? And, where are you being unstoppable and never giving up? Because even as an entrepreneur, as when I've built my school to help people, to teach, to empower them to have their voice, there's been many times where I've wanted to give up. So where are you on that edge of knowing, keep believing in yourself and having people around you who believe in you and truly support you? And it may not be anything to do with your biological family. It may be to do with soul family.
Thank you so much. I remember standing in the kitchen one day after I'd sort of broke my marriage up, and sort of then knew the job was going, because once I took a step, the universe really did come in. But in spite of the fact I hadn't started this journey, it was the very start. I had that knowing that it was all right. But I was standing in the kitchen one day, and it suddenly hit me. It really did hit me. Why am I worrying about what other people think about me when they're not? And it was just, and I felt the weight lift off my shoulders from somebody who'd spent 35 years, 36 years at that stage, worrying constantly about what other people thought about me. And through this journey, it's people tell you to step outside your comfort zone. And but how do I do that? You step back into yourself. And there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but nothing grows in your comfort zone.
It's true.
And so while we stay in that comfort zone, and the end of my second marriage came because, and I didn't understand it from that perspective at that point in time, because my comfort zone had got so blooming uncomfortable, I couldn't do it anymore. I really couldn't do it anymore. I felt like we lived in parallel ruts. His was lined with rose petals and mine was lined with rose thorns, and it got too bad. And so I called a halt. And sometimes it is up to us to take that step. The universe isn't always going to do it for us. And we make room for what is meant to be in our lives. And I took that step, and within a very few short weeks, we also got told that the company I was working for was getting taken over. And unless we wanted to move down to Bournemouth, which is where I now live, we were all going to get made redundant. I still took redundancy, but I did come down here. So there are gifts that come in the strangest ways. Somebody once said to me when I sought some help, you never know when you're being lucky. And some of the things that appear the unluckiest can actually be the best things that can happen to you. And that, one of those for me, was my broken jaw. If it hadn't been for a broken jaw that gave me 6 months of pain and sleepless nights and exhausted me, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. It was my wake-up call, my life quake. It made me do something about my life. I think what we're all sharing here is support for people that they don't necessarily have to have that life quake.
No.
Sort of, you can listen to the story or read the stories, listen and read the stories that we're sharing, our true life stories, and the wisdom that we've learnt to be able to find ourselves underneath everything else that has buried us. So thank you so much. I'm going to come back to each of you. Just a little thought, something that you'd like to add. So Linda, something you'd like to add to this, just to finish us
Well,
off.
I think, understanding yourself and, questioning, as Mahalia said, when things are not going well, that's a sign to you that you need to pay attention to something in your life. I used to think I was the person who had to stay in the background. I'm introverted. I was terrified of speaking in front of people. And it was like the universe kept pushing me into situations where I had to be the center of attention, where I had to step up and speak up. I remember my boss one time sending me on a public speaking course, and I was so angry with him for sending me on that public speaking course. But it turned out to be one of the best things that could have happened to me. I learned a lot from that experience. And sort of the universe has nudged me sort of over the years to, no, you're not supposed to stay in the background. You're supposed to be, in front. So it's about paying attention to those messages, the things that are going on around you and what life is telling you, and paying attention to your body, because your body is telling you a lot all of the time. If you feel angry or upset or depressed, or, that your body is telling you need to pay attention to something. You're not living from your true self. So when you start looking at that and really allowing yourself to feel it and see where it's coming from and what is it telling you, that's when you can start to really make progress.
Mm.
Thank you, Linda. Mahalia, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, what you just said, Sarah Jane and Linda, the adversity creates rebirth, really, and to let any adversity you've been through your whole life be the catalyst to create the life of your dreams. And no matter where you're at in the stage of your journey, that you are an infinite being. You're made of stardust. You are made of extraordinary music. It's within you. Your cells are designed to sing. And if you need support to begin a new life, connect with the whale and dolphin multidimensional consciousness. Connect in with your heart. Go deep within. That's where all the deep answers are. It's where the guidance is. Source Creator is my best friend. I stay really in alignment and one with the universe, and that has been my soul support. Really, just deep, ongoing, never ending, always there. So to not rely so much on other people outside of you, but to stay really solid within and with that alignment to the divine. To me, that's been definitely my how I've gotten to where I am today, and let from there the love can flow, and the history just melts away, and there can be forgiveness. It's not essential, but there can be that, and especially for yourself. And let the little child in you come out. Be more playful, use your imagination, dream big, dream beyond the stars, and watch what happens. You will be surprised. Serendipity comes from these adversities. And yes, like Sarah Jane, you recovered. I've had many things to recover. Linda, you as well. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to add. And use your voice. Be willing to let yourself be heard by others. Find that confidence. And I'm so excited for you, for where you're going to journey to and what you're going to create in your life.
Bless you. Thank you. Find your voice. I think so many of us struggled with using our voice. I know I did. If I found myself in a room, it would be, right, how far can I get into the wall? Sort of, or will the floor open up and sort of swallow me? Because I was always, I was so chronically shy. But you wouldn't believe that now. So you can come out the other side. There's lots of support. I've shared the bios of my guests and their websites beneath where you found the video. Also, the little write-ups to go with what they've talked about. With any of our videos for this gathering, please, if there's something that somebody has said that resonates with you, reach out. Reach out to them, to us. Because the one thing we did this book for was to support people to realize that you do not have to put up with the way others treat you. And you can say no, no more. And you can then start to find who you are. And yes, there will be people who will leave your life. But when they leave your life, it makes way for the people who are waiting to come into your life. And you teach people how to treat you. You set the boundaries. Build your confidence in yourself. And we've talked about the child here, and the inner child. If you can reconnect with your inner child, help them to feel loved, heard, listened to, their confidence grows, and so does yours. And I'm not speaking from the top of my head because I've done it for myself. And in our own way, I think all of us have. Because as our child hears and we let our child out, I'm usually with a big smile on my face because life is beautiful. And we're allowed to smile, we're allowed to laugh, we're allowed to have fun. It's not meant to be all boring and serious. There are serious aspects, yes, but life is about enjoying yourself. So thank you so much to Mahalia and to Linda for this program. It has been a real pleasure. Excellent to have you both here. Thank you so much. Take care, be safe, stay well.
Thank you.
Love, peace and light. Namaste.